So let's have a chat about dieting. As we know, people, perhaps yourself, have attempted many dieting regimes and programs, and I don't know too many people who have a lot of success with dieting. Well, all of the people that come to see me have zero success in the long run. Perhaps they have a little bit of success within the first couple of weeks, but it just peters out because of the rubber band effect. So, what is the rubber band effect? Well, we have to understand that the subconscious mind is what plays the major role in dieting, not the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind is way more powerful. We're looking at 900 times more powerful. So, when the subconscious mind is involved, there is a much higher success rate. So, the rubber band effect. So, if you were to put a rubber band around your two fingers and I asked you to stretch it out and hold it out, that would be using your willpower. You'll be holding that rubber band with the willpower of strength. Now, then I ask you to go about your daily duties while keeping and maintaining that rubber band. Eventually, as you go into your duties, the rubber band is going to gradually pull back the fingers into the original position, which is exactly how and what happens when a diet begins to fail. For the first couple of weeks, you're using your willpower, and perhaps you get some results starting to show up, and that's great. However, it seems to plateau out, and then even sometimes, more often than not, reverse, and there is no results showing, and yet you're still having to suffer not eating the foods you like, and perhaps having to force yourself to do some sort of exercise routine. Now, what's important to know is that it's not what you eat, it's what you think about what you eat. So, what do I mean by that? So, the subconscious mind uses pictures and feelings, and our body responds to pictures and feelings. That's why your mouth can salivate at the description of a cold, juicy lemon being sliced. And imagine placing that on flat, flush on your tongue. Your mouth will probably salivate. There was no lemon involved in reality, only the imagination, the picture of that lemon, and yet the body responded to that picture. So when you look at your food, and what most people don't realize is when their food gets served up to them, they will have an instantaneous reaction to the food. Most of the time, that's unconscious. So you hear people who are usually prone to put on weight more easily. They say, "Oh, I just need to look at that," and they can put on 5 pounds. Well, they're literally saying the principle without understanding it. That is exactly what happens. Then you can have the opposite effect where slender people can eat what they like and they never seem to put on any weight. So, what's going on here? When a meal is served up to a person and you get that instant reaction to that food, you have to be aware of what that reaction is, what you're picturing. If you're picturing, "Oh, if I eat this, I'm going to be overweight or I'm going to put on weight," your body's just going to listen to that subconscious command because it's working on that process, just like the example of the lemon, and vice versa. So, the key thing here, number one principle when dieting, is be aware. It's not what you eat, it's what you think about what you eat that matters. So, thinking is picturing. So, what are you picturing when your meal is served up to you? Are you picturing a healthy body? a slender body, or are you picturing having a negative picture about your body? Be aware of that first. If you can get that first one, you're going to be starting to take good shape. Now, the second principle what is the second principle? Now the second principle is really important. It's a counterintuitive principle, and that's why most people miss it, because they're using their logic, and logic doesn't work with the subconscious mind, as you have probably discovered yourself. So most dieting regimes and programs are going to limit your calories or limit your intake. There's some sort of limitation going on there. Less food intake, less calories, whatever that may be. Now, what is not revealed to you, which is really important, is that our body, our survival system kicks in when we go on a diet. Now, the survival system, the subconscious part of us, thinks that there is a shortage of food because all of a sudden the food intake or the calories have been lowered, there's less intake, the body feels that there is a shortage of food. And so the body switches into the parasympathetic nervous system mode, the fight or flight, and it begins to create more fat. The reason why it creates more fat is because the body feels that it is in a deprived situation, and therefore unconsciously the subconscious kicks in into survival mode and has to prepare for starvation. So what it does to counteract that is it starts to create more fat, because as you know, fat becomes a source of energy as it's burned and melted down, and it can be used as a source of energy. So by lowering your food intake, lowering your calories, sets off an alarm system to the subconscious mind to tell the body there's not enough food. Therefore, the subconscious kicks in, and this is done all unconsciously, not logically. The subconscious kicks in and starts to build more fat. Exactly what you don't want when you're on a diet. So, crazy, right? And this is not told, it's not shared, because obviously, if you're on a diet and it's not working, you're going to stay on that diet for a long time. And some people make a living out of that. And so this is not something that's known. It's not commonly known, but it's very important. So, A, It's not what you eat, it's what you think about what you eat. Number two, B, when you lower your intake of food or calories for a prolonged period of time, it's going to set an alarm and send a message to the subconscious mind. There's not enough food. Starvation is ahead, and we need to rebuild to prepare for this starvation period, so it builds more fat. There you go. So here's a couple of tricks that will really help you to counteract that. Sneaky little tricks, but they're really, really good. The first thing is always leave a little portion of food on your plate when you're finished. Whether it's 8 peas or a chunk of sausage or a bit of mashed potato or some pasta, whatever it is, a little bit of fish, just leave a small portion on the plate. And most of us were brought up with conditioning that, you have to clean up your plate and don't leave anything out. There's people out there in the world that are not getting enough food, etc. So you get guilt tripped about that. So you eat all your food. So you clean your plate up usually. Well, that's also falling into the starvation alarm system. So leave a little bit of food on your plate. And what that says to your subconscious mind is that there's more than enough food. I don't need to create more fat. It's pretty cool. And the third principle and problem with weight loss is usually nothing to do with food altogether. It's emotional. So I have a lot of clients coming in for weight loss, and I would say that it would be 10% or less of these clients that have a food issue. It's mainly emotional. So if you're not making any progress and getting any gains with your dieting, it might not be anything to do with your food, because I've had clients who have successfully lost weight without changing their food dieting regime and without changing their exercise routine, and they've lost weight just through releasing emotional, energetic blocks and baggage. So there are 3 principles to take into consideration if you've been struggling with your dieting, and try them out and see how they go. Now, I'm going to create a hypnosis video just for weight loss after this video, and it will include the hypnagogic, hemisync, and isotronic sounds in the background, and I'm going to do a weight loss hypno meditation, which I'll upload, and you can use that. The more you use it, the more effective it will be. It will be generic, so use it and see if you can gain some results. You got nothing to lose, right? So, see you in the next video.